It's that time again for another week of questions from the community. My name is Scott and I'm with 2K. Every week you guys submit questions on Twitter using the hashtag #BadassQuestions or on Facebook and YouTube, and we try to answer as many of them as we can. This week is a special questions from the community. We made a bunch of big announcements this week concerning the competitive multiplayer aspect of the game. So feel free to ask questions about that and we'll try to answer as many of them in next week's video. Stefan1842 on Twitter asks, will there be a locker so you can transfer your loot to another character? Stefan, yes, there is. It's not called a locker, it's called a bank, but similar to Borderlands, you can collect your loot. In Battleborn, it's loot packs that you collect, and when you open them, you get individual randomized pieces of gear. At that point, you can choose whether to transfer that gear that you've earned into your bank, where you can then apply it into a loadout or assign it to a different character loadout, or you can sell that piece of gear and get credits back that you can then use to buy additional loot packs. Red Exponent on Twitter asks, do picking up health or shields heal your nearby allies as well, or only yourself? Because the shards look to be shared. So Red Exponent, when you pick up health or other power-ups in a story mission, that only applies to you. However, loot that you pick up does apply across your whole team, and then once you open that loot pack, the gear within that loot is instanced specifically for you. So it's procedurally generated, and it's just unique to you. Colecat on YouTube asks, how do you unlock characters? Do you start off as one and gain more, or are the characters unlocked by certain events? Do you have to unlock them in story mode to play them in multiplayer? So Colecat, you start off with some characters at the beginning of Battleborn, and then you unlock others by completing in-game challenges or by playing the story mode in the game. And by doing that, you'll unlock characters in meaningful ways that you can then take into competitive multiplayer or play in story missions. Wyatt Andrew Unger on Facebook asks, what are you guys doing to keep a co-op mission fresh after you have already played it for the 40th or 50th time? So Wyatt, 40 or 50 times is a ton, and I hope that you play through our story missions that many times. There is going to be a lot of incentives for you to go back and replay certain missions. Chief among them, I think, is that you can play as any of the 25 different playable characters eventually as you've unlocked them all, and each time you play through as one of those characters, you're going to unlock different pieces of their lore. You're going to discover different pieces of their lore. It might just be through the different VO that the characters have. As you take certain characters into a mission together, they'll have certain banter that is specific between those two characters. So that's one reason. Another is that there's in-game challenges and challenges tied to certain characters, and so you're going to want to go replay certain story missions to complete those challenges. But not only that, obviously there's the sweet loot aspect of all of it, and so you're going to want to go back into story missions, play them on different difficulties, so normal mode, hard mode, and then the hardcore mode that we've talked about. And so by doing that, that increases your chance of getting more and more rare loot, or rarer and rarer loot, I should say. And then beyond that, even more, obviously, is the boss encounters that you're going to have, and I think a lot of people are going to want to go back and farm bosses for better loot. So yes, lots of ways and reasons to go back and play story missions over and over again. Thanks so much for your questions. Those were great questions, everyone. If you had your question answered in this week's video, you just won yourself a pack of these Battleborn collectible cards. Remember, you can submit your question using the hashtag #BadassQuestions on Twitter or leave a comment below this video. See you next week.